Hey, are we all? We're all set up here. Sweet. What's up? How we doing tonight? I am locked in tonight. I'm kind of locked in. I'm kind of locked in all day, to be honest. I was working on. Y'all ever use Space Max? Any real Emacs knowers? Ever use Space Max? Just Doom? Okay, well Space Max is cool too. It was like it was the thing before Doom. This bad boy. It was like the first Emacs. It was like the first Emacs I used. Like my brother set me up with it. He was like, "Yo, check out this thing," and then I went back to vanilla Emacs. Or no, I did Space Max, and then I did Doom, and then I went back to vanilla. And then I stopped using Emacs for like a few years because I didn't have any reason to use it. Because I didn't know what I was doing. God forbid. And then I did Vim for a while, and then I ended up on Helix. But the point of this story is that here, let's see. It's a Helix config cogs themes. Is that it? Or no. Dot config, excuse me, Helix cogs themes. I ported the theme to Helix plus Steel. So this is using the new the Steel API. So like this is defining the theme right here. But what's nice is like all these are documented. So it's like, oh, you want to go check out? It's like, oh, they all have documentation. Well, most of them have documentation. Highlighting function calls. It's like, okay, so this is how a function call will get highlighted. A keyword function. You have a string, an array, etc., etc. So this is that's the theme. I quite like it. All right, new subs get to pick the Helix theme. All right, someone name a theme. Someone name a theme, please. Nobody wants to pick a theme. It's crazy. I'm just going to use Nord Knight like a loser. We'll go with well, we can use Space Max until someone says otherwise. But Space Max was cool. It was just like really slow. I remember being a little annoyed with how slow it was at the time. What's your theme of choice? Or do you have to ask someone their permission if you can name a theme? I guess you don't even need a theme if you're sitting in the console or in the terminal the whole time. See, there it is. Doesn't even know his theme. I'm not even sure if I like the Space Max theme. I like your terminal has anime on it. I'm not surprised. Is it like the transparent one with the anime background? What's the anime picture? Is it like Oh my god, dude. I bet that shit rips on the with the GPU, the 4080. Or I guess no, you don't even have it. Cowboy Bebop. Okay, the Cowboy Bebop, never watched it. Soundtrack goes hard though. Soundtrack goes hard, never watch a show. Never watch a show. Soundtrack is insane. So I recently was playing I booted up the Mario tennis game on the GameCube for like 15 minutes. Game is absolute gas because like the new Switch one came out and I don't have a Switch. But then it reminded me that the soundtrack for the old, I guess it's still the Switch, the previous iteration of tennis games on the Switch, the soundtrack for that goes insane. They have like a whole big band or some shit. It's unreal. I think the Mario Karts do it too. But yeah, maybe I should watch. Is Cowboy Bebop is it a movie? Is it a series? Is it a series movie? Yeah, I'm trying to work on the LSP a little bit because I've been procrastinating on it, and I really don't like working on it. But it should be. It's good. I need to set up my like debug flow on it. Okay, Cowboy Bebop TV series. It has 26 episodes. Is there like a movie? I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it at some point if I run out of other shit to watch. It's also not that good. No, I'm not an anime watcher. I'm not at all. I would not even. I don't even scratch. Like, no, I don't watch anime. I wouldn't even claim to suggest that I do because I like the Studio Ghibli movies because it's not anime, and I know like real anime heads will come. They'll come for me if I say that, so I'm not even going to say it. I wouldn't go as far as to suggest that. But I'm definitely not sitting down to watch like 18,000 episodes of whatever that show is that there's only one season with 8,000 episodes. What is that one called? One. Yeah. That. One Piece. Season 1 of Pokemon is good. Dare I say it, holds up too. I watched it a few years ago during like COVID because they let you. There was like a Pokemon app, Pokemon TV app, and I was playing the DS games emulated because I kind of ran out of shit to do and was like, all right, I'll just kind of like burn through them. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll like throw on a handful of these episodes from season 1. It's good. It was fun. The vibes were good in the show. Dare I say I shed a little tear at Bye Bye Butterfree. I think anyone with a soul would. I don't know if it's an anime. Is Yu-Gi-Oh an anime? Or is it just kind of like I feel like it's not really. I feel like it is, but it isn't. It's like it's more of an anime than Pokemon. I would probably agree with that. I would say Yu-Gi-Oh is more of an anime. But I don't know. It's like anime. What I consider anime is, I don't know. Shit's a cartoon made in Japan. Anyway, so the inspiration for the work today is twofold. Someone posted an error today and had me freaking the frick out. And my eyes were not catching it. They were calling for each. So like for each is a function in the standard library. So they were calling for each like this. And then they were like, and then they got this error. And that error is a little bit unclear because it makes it seem like, I know this because I've done this myself, is that it's a bit unclear, is that for each is flipped. The function goes first and then the list. It's not the other way around. You'd have the same problem with like map. If you put the function or the list first and then the function, it'll look like if I did like list and did like add one, you'd get a similarly confusing error. And it really is just that it should like provide a check beforehand. Now, if I do like this, we actually get our doc comment, which is great. And so I was like, okay, I think if I do filter too. Yeah, and if you're using like the LSP, which we should be here. Like I can boot up here, let me just like, I already use this file. Right, if I boot this up and I have like filter list 10 20 30 lambda x, or sorry, like for each, and we just do like display line. Right, like if I look at the doc comment, it says it's procedure then list. But obviously that's not what I'm doing here. Now in this case, we wouldn't necessarily be able to tell from the LSP. Like we could, because we could concretely evaluate like this constant expression, and or we know what this is. We know list is list 10 20 30. So we could like report this error at the LSP level because we could do a little like a little interpretation here. And we could be like, that's wrong. But alternatively, I was thinking about just adding contracts to these functions so that they do a little bit better error reporting. They do a little better error reporting. So I was going to investigate that a little bit. That was kind of, I had some other things I wanted to do as well, but I don't really feel like doing them. There's a bunch of JIT work I have queued up that is dependent on a pull request getting merged into a dependent library. It's taken a while for that to get looked at, and I think at this point I might just fork the library, which is fine. And then otherwise I'm looking, like once that's merged, then I can update my lists library, and then I can do a bunch of stuff that I have queued up. I'll be able to like inline all my ref count operations, which should make things go zoomy zoom. But until then, let's just take a look at this. So like if I were to naively go here, like for each. Okay, so I have this, what's cool, so the standard library is a little special. It's a little special. And I think if I start screwing with the standard library, the LSP might break. So I need to double check some things. So we're gonna do a few experiments. So first, let's look at the language server. It's like probably, yeah, fetch standard library doc. Yeah. Standard library doc. Okay. So there's this thing called contract out. which is a... Okay, so the module system has a couple neat things on it. So let's go to like SQLite. Yeah. So the way it works is that you can define, like within a module, you can define stuff. And then at the module export level, you can attach a contract to it. Now, what that means is internally, like if you call a function a lot, it won't have a contract applied to it. But if you apply a contract elsewhere, then it will. Like if you attach it here. So I wanted to see what would happen if I did this in the standard library, because I think it won't work quite the way I was expecting. So like if I take for each and I go here and I say, okay, we're gonna take contract out for each, and it accepts, what did I say for each is like function and list, and it returns a void. So now the question is, what happens if I try to use it? Cannot do that there because we don't even have contracts yet. That was my concern. That was one concern I had. Is that contracts don't exist yet because this like exists pre-contracts. So then if we go to contracts, this is like a built-in library that like implements the contracts. Now this exists pretty low, is pretty low level. Like low level within the yeah, it's like bind C. Yeah, like this all happens before the standard library. It's kind of a bummer. I could manually instrument the checks and basically implement what this is doing. Or I could inline contracts into the standard library in like a hidden way. That could work. But that's kind of not what I really want to do. This is like for each. I guess it's like raise. I could do it. Because I just have to do error with span. Then it's like, okay, this is I wrote this code a long time ago. Current function span. Okay, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. It's like when, like, unless function func, I do like error, like raise error. What is it? Error with span. And I do for each expected a function found something. And I need to give it the span. Okay, so like I'll just manually instrument the checks. Let's see if that works. Okay, that worked. That's actually pretty good. That's not bad. Okay. That's not bad. Okay. That's good. And I think I'm going to implement this not like flattened like this. I think I want it in like an expression style. So say like if it's a function, go ahead and do the thing. Else don't do the thing. And we'll do if it's a function and it's a list. This in a JIT world, um in a JIT world, this should be fast. These checks, actually, I don't know. These checks should be fast in a JIT world. Now, can I eliminate them? Yeah, I think so, because it'll inline, and then the second check will get eliminated. So I inline everything. Inlining goes freaking crazy. So we'll say if it's a function, and it's a list, do the thing. Okay. So now if I call it incorrectly, we should get a little bit better of an error message. We'll say like for each. So like, let's say lambda. Let's just say display line, and let's give it like a string. Okay. I think I'll just do them separately. If function and if list. And then we'll just have a second error. Okay, so we'll do that. So now it's this isn't a contract. It's implemented. It's kind of like inlined. Okay. Other places where that might be good. I don't know. So the part that's tricky is like I want the LSP to report known call site issues if it's like obvious. So then the question is, how do I do that? So if we go to the language server, there's like a static arity checker or something like that. Yeah. So I do all this crap. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I want the Space Max theme. It's kind of nice. We'll go that one. You don't want me to hold down tab. You're not ready for that one. Bitrate will probably like drop to 0. Okay, so the what am I trying to do? Apologies. So this works. This will check arity mismatches, I believe. If you call something incorrectly. So like we can test that. Like I pull up this and I like add an extra argument. Does that work? No, it does not. Okay, so let's check. Let's try this. Like let's say like provide test func, and we'll say like define test func xyz, and then I call test func. Okay, so that's not working. So let's see why, I guess. Known functions, known contracts. Do we even do anything with that? Okay, we do. Okay, so we resolve into the module. Okay, I need to do some debugging. So it's time. Okay. It's time to set this up. Wonder there's some other stuff. Like I don't know if it's like no. I feel like a bunch of stuff isn't working. Okay, well, that's fine. So we're gonna go back to this is my init SCM. Okay. So we're gonna make oh my language server is probably busted. We'll make this here. Okay, that's fine. So now okay. Okay, sweet. So now let's just just kidding. Okay, so we got some logs now. Oh, it's got to load up so much stuff. Maybe I don't do it here. Maybe I do it in a separate. Yeah. Let's do it like. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Now here we go. So we have A and B. Oh, just kidding. Okay. Now we try. Now we try. Now we try. Now we try. Okay, we have A.scm and we have B. Let's do like provide test func. Is the LSP just not doing anything? No, it's running. Oh. There we go. Okay. All right, now we have ourselves a little harness. Okay, so we found an identifier, and if I go to definition, that works. And then if I put a dot comment, that doesn't show up. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that shows up. And we can do this, and that works. But if I called this with like less args, it's not doing the checks. So let's go check out that static arity checker business. Okay. Let's make sure it's even getting called in the first place. It is. Okay, so let's just do okay. Okay, so I wonder if this is just like out of date and it didn't get required. What is E print line, error print line? What does -E do in bash? It was crazy. I've been set E all week in bash. I'm writing a lot of bash this week. By hand. Writing bash. Every time I learn bash, I'm like, those Linux graybeards, they're right. Bash is cool. Unix is cool. All right, what the heck am I doing here? Unresolved. Okay, resolver. Module prefix path to check. I feel like what I'm doing here is not correct. Okay, so let's look at this. They know more than they get credit for. I was going to ask if people wanted music or if they would prefer their own and therefore no music. Because I thought about it. But I was like, maybe let the user decide their own music. Let the viewer decide. You just want to listen to my beautiful voice? I appreciate that. Unresolved. He is. I've been getting glazed all week, and I'm loving every minute of it. Loving every minute of it. Okay, don't worry about that. Don't worry about all this span business. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need any of this. I don't need that either. Explain arity checker. Okay. So at runtime, Steel checks the arg counts of everything. So if you like type, literally every function is dynamic. So you check the argument counts. Now, that's not actually true because during compilation, I will remove arity checks if I can prove that they aren't necessary. But that's besides the point. So what I'm trying to do is given that I basically am doing static analysis on the code to determine if you are calling a function with an incorrect number of arguments, and then I want to report that to the user. So that way they know, like, oh shit, I called that with the wrong number of args before runtime. So it's statically analyzing the dynamic code to be like, this is going to be an error. It's breaking right now. No, I think I regressed the behavior. This was working some time ago, and I'm looking at it and I think there's something broken about it. I was just expecting it to show an error and it wasn't. but the go to definition still works. They share the same code, so that's why I was confused. And it looks like they used to share the code and now they don't. So somewhere along the line I broke it. So I'm just trying to fix it. So you implemented arity checking, static arity checking? Is that what you're saying? During compilation? It will become more clear when I actually try to run this. Okay, so now we're gonna, okay, so now that built, okay, so now we're going to LSP restart. There we go. It's fixed. So it was just a regression, just straight up somewhere in the time I broke it. And so I just made it use the same code that the go to definition was using. So now, right, because it knows that it's supposed to be 3 arguments. So now if I put 3 args, it stops erroring, which is great. It's perfect. Now, like, this is much better. So now what I want to do is I want to do more than just that. But I want to use the same machinery for the static arity checker. Because the static arity checker basically says, like, if we can resolve what your function was pointing to originally, and then we can look at the code that was there, can we provide additional diagnostics that are helpful? So I was thinking it could be cool if it was statically verifiable that you're calling a function that expects like a function in the first position, and you give it like a known, like we were able to resolve it to like a list. It's basically like a type checker. But I'm not going to go through the exercise of actually implementing the type checker in its entirety because I do enough of that shit already. I just mean I'm going to do like low-hanging fruit ones for now. And then I can, as if the machinery is in place, then I can do something more sophisticated later. God willing. Okay, sweet. Well, that's good. I should just push that fix. Jesus Christ. If function if list. I don't see how that could break anything. Static arity checker regression. So there are now binary releases for Steel. So if you feel so inclined, you can install all of the things through the binaries. And I spent quite a bit of time figuring out how to get all of that working. But now that I know how to do it all, I will do it more often, because I had never released any binaries up to this point because I was procrastinating, but I felt obliged. So now that should work. And I'll update the docs to have all that good info. Which is cool. Okay, well that's a good fix. That's a good fix. Okay, so I'll just delete this because we don't need that anymore. The question is, I don't even am I fussing with the. Okay. Yeah, so now that works. That's perfect. That's good stuff. So now what else do I want? I don't know. I think if I did, I don't think I checked the contracts. Because it's like I check known, like I get the known contracts, but I don't think I do anything with them. Known functions I definitely like check. Because I go to stat, yeah. I don't do anything with the known contracts. So I'm wondering if I should look at what the heck is in that. Just for the sake of it. So what is in that? That creates a static contract. Oh my god, I wrote a type checker. When did I do this, dude? I was so cracked. I wrote a type checker. I don't remember doing this. This is crazy. I just don't think I actually check anything. How's Griff doing these days? Any faster? Any faster than it was before? I saw I brought up that Lisp meetup in the Bay Area, and I was excited because the main talk was this guy talking about his scheme that he implemented in JavaScript, and I was like, wow, that's so exciting. But then I saw he vibe coded the whole thing, and now I'm not as excited. No disrespect. I'm just not personally as excited about it anymore. It's only gotten slower. Oh yeah, and then I tried running it and it crashed my Firefox. I ran fib of 35 and it said, all right, I'm gonna head out. So that's my concern, is I'm like, am I gonna go to this meetup and it just be like, man. Yeah, Firefox, it locked up and then it became unresponsive. So I don't know what happened. But Firefox had a bad time. So that was a little disappointing. So why has it gotten slower? What happened? Did the rubber hit the road? You add more stuff. All of a sudden you got more stuff to do. Yeah, I wrote this in the scheme, like the scheme RS Discord, not mine, but the other one. My bad on not yoinking that domain 6 years ago, like I should have. Whatever. I was like, because he said for his scheme he made the numeric tower, and I was like, yeah. When I when I did that, I was like, wow, the numeric tower is so cool. And then I like implemented it, and I was like, why do people even need to do math? It's stupid. They don't need to do math. The users don't need it. We can just leave that functionality out. It's awful. There is so much shit in the numeric tower. It's really nice when you're a user, but writing it is not fun. Okay. So I have my static call site arity checker. Who cares about complex numbers? I do, apparently. Many such cases of people caring about complex numbers. They're not just 2D numbers, they're actually numbers plus imaginary numbers. They're imaginary, actually. They're not just 2D. They're basically 3D numbers. You ever do you ever go to like Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, and go to Shrek 4D? Anyone else? I will not slander complex numbers. I would not even begin. I'm a big fan of complex numbers. The arithmetic on the imaginary component is not vector arithmetic. Let them know. Crankhog, please. Let them know. We got nerds in the chat. You mean in Steel? Because Steel is the only scheme that is important? You can say that. It's okay. Haven't touched complex math in a as soon as I need to do any graphic stuff, quaternions are coming out. Or physics stuff, I guess. I forget, when do you use quaternions? I did that when I wrote a game in Unity. Yes. When we have a ball and it's rotating. That's when we'll have quaternions. See, now I want to see. I got all these fun things I want to do, and instead I'm like fucking writing an LSP like it's work. I literally wrote an LSP all day, and now I'm like, let me boot up the stream and work on my fun LSP. God, it's insane. But this works, which is exciting. Okay, so that works. We need the nav system for the crank hogbot. Yep. Mm-hmm. But we need abstractions for 3D rotations and paths. Of course. We're going to need pathfinding. We're going to need all sorts of stuff. It's very important. I mean, forklift simulator does sound fun, though. That does sound fun. what else? What else am I planning to do? It's like, do I really want to go to the effort of implementing the checks in the type checker? Like, I don't even know. I don't really want to. I guess I can see what I've done, because I don't really know what I've done. If it doesn't work at all, I'm just going to like let it go. But if there's something there, I'll continue working on it. Otherwise, I'll find something else to do. How about that? We'll start there. Okay, because there's two parts to it. Is that I don't think I implemented like all the parsing correctly for this. So then if I pull this out, like first, if I do this, it knows. Okay, awesome. So then if I go here and I make this define contract, and I do like int, and I'm returning a list. Okay, that is working. Now if I do this, it does work. Okay. I'm calling the static arity checker. Oh, I didn't actually rebuild, of course. Your second trial ended. You have to make a third GitHub account. I hope you realize that you're like literally addicted to this, right? I hope you realize that it's an addiction and you need help. And this is your intervention. I think it's not doing anything. Yeah. No such file. Okay, something. It's fine. Okay, so it doesn't know about this contract. So let's see what it looks like. Okay. Oh, I know why. Of course. Okay, so the way this gets compiled is that because we're using a module, this all gets like mangled. And then we have this like bind C, make function C. That all comes from the contracts library. And the contracts library, so yeah, it's like there's no private steel contract. All these symbols are not quite it. That's not what it looks like. It ends up looking more like this. But it is getting this part. So it does know that it's like it's the prim int. So where do we use this? Because I think we just have to do this differently. So it's like is make function. then it should actually just be like ident.resolve starts with like double hash. If it's, I mean, it's not perfect, but it'll do for now. Is it make function C? Okay, and then we'll just do the same thing here, except it's going to be bind C. And then it's also going to be, and then make C. Okay, so now let's try. See if that does anything at all. Man, my boys are asking for me to play Counter-Strike. It's tough. It's tough because I could play Counter-Strike. I am going to get addicted. The game is so fun. Okay, known contracts is still not doing anything. Okay, so it's this. If this is a defined contract, it expands to be like define thing with a lambda and then a set bang with that thing. If it's a function contract, is bind C. I did not lift today. I went for a run today, and I'm lifting in the morning. But I did go for a run, and I did some other stuff at home though. I did some push-ups, some just some stuff. It was sunny for like a little bit, and I was like, I don't really want to go to the gym. I want to like be outside, so I went for a run. You ever get so drunk you just get down to put? Yes, I have. I have. Not many times though. Probably just the once. Why is it not working? Why can't it just work without me having to do anything? Have we asked that? Ah. Isn't that it? Let me see. It's exactly the same. Fix this, make no mistakes, please. Of course. But you know what that would mean? It would mean that I would have to pay to have fun, which I'm not doing. Known contracts is not working. Okay, so let's just see what this says. Is this even like doing anything? I don't even think this shit is running, man. Oh, because it's not. How do you do like a pairwise iteration? Is it Windows? Because chunks isn't it? I need Windows? Can I do this? Does that work? It's working? There we go. We got something. So now if you put contracts on, now if you put a contract on, we'll be able to catch it. So that's cool. We'll be able to like statically analyze your contract if it's simple, if it's just types. Well, you see that's so there's two reasons why people vibe code that at least for me, or three reasons that I've discerned. The first is they think the technology is cool, and so they're just like goofing around, and it's just a toy. I don't think they really care about like the actual end result that much, more as like instead of programming, they're just talking to a computer and like making a thing, and it's just like a toy that like will inevitably get tossed aside. So that's like one reason, which doesn't really like, that's not why I got into it in the first place. Like if I wanted to play with a toy, like I would go play Counter-Strike, because that game is sick as hell. It's a great game. Second, they get paid to program, and then they're like, well, now I can think less. And they're like, I can think less, and therefore it's easier. Like I'm not even joking. I was in a meeting 2 days ago. The guy shared his screen. Bro was asking Cursor in the Cursor window to craft Slack messages for him. And not even like a big email-esque like announcement, like normal messages. I couldn't believe it. And then this is what happened. This shit blew my mind. Was we were testing something, and then we found a bug. That was the point of the exercise, was to find bugs. And then we said we knew, like, we were running Bazel, and the Bazel build was all locked up. And we were like, just kill the Bazel process. We'll start over. And like it said, Bazel is waiting, because Bazel can only run one thing at a time, which is silly, but you know, that's besides the point. Okay. So then Bazel was running one thing, and it was stuck in that one thing. So we said, kill the process. Okay. We were like, kill the process. Because Bazel said, I'm waiting for the other process which was stuck to finish. And Bazel's nice, and it says the process ID right there. And we were like, oh, just do like kill whatever dash P process ID. And he went, huh? And we were like, it's right there. Just like paste it in. And he was like, huh? Let me just ask the chat thing. And started typing in it. I could not believe it. And this dude probably makes like double what I make. I couldn't believe it. I literally told him to like stop and use his brain for a second. Like, shit gonna get me fired at some point when I say that to the wrong person. So yeah. And then there's a third reason, which is just like, I don't know, just tech enthusiast. I don't really get it though. It's not for me. Right. Well, it's like all those ads for like doing pull-ups. I'm like, bro, you don't need to ask a computer how to do pull-ups. You just do them. People been doing them for thousands of years. You have to you just have to try until you can do it. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think that date's going to go well. That's my guess. It's one thing to like search for nearby restaurants because you don't know what the restaurants are. But still, I don't know why you go to ChatGPT for that. I'd be just checking Google Maps in a radius and looking what it pops up with if I didn't know what was there. Okay, well, this is good. We found contracts. It's huge. We found contracts. So first, like, let's actually like run this code. Okay, it works just fine. So now if I call this with like a string, it errored and it gave me a nice error message at the call site. Contracts are sweet. Hold on, the dog's at the door. No, Sherman, come here. Doggy time. Doggy time. Doggy on the camera. Doggy on the computer. He had to go to the VET today. Can't say it. He's got his paws on the desk. He could start typing. Who knows, man? What are you going for, bud? Stop it. Okay. No, you're not on the bed. Okay. Okay, so the contracts work, which is awesome. Claude, pet my dog. Jarvis? Okay, so this works, which is awesome. So now I actually need to like do something with it. And I don't really feel like doing that. But we can do that. We can do it. Okay, so now that we have the contract, now we actually have to check the contracts. Let me just do simple ones just to prove it's possible, and then I'll maybe consider doing something more. You're right to question that. Now you're thinking like a seasoned Rust expert. Rocket emoji. Logging into a random email. It's already got a GitHub account. Okay, so there's your free trial. Your old C code. Why don't you just start Grift over in C? But this time make it fast. No? You're a hater, man. All you do is hate. I just hear hate. You're like, Why do you like Java? Java sucks. Java's sick as fuck. Java's cool as hell. The JVM is amazing. Scala, sweet. I've been writing Scala all day. Well, not all day, for like an hour. Okay, Zig does not suck. We will not be slandering Zig in this chat. We are Zig enjoyers here. I've never written a line of it, but I would love to. Maybe one day. C#. I really like C#. I don't think there's a language that I've written that I don't like. I think maybe the only one is C++. Lua is cool too. Objects or the tables, they're cool. They're cool. I don't really like Go. I'll say it. I don't really like it. It's fine though. I did like a year of writing Go in college. It's pretty cool. Go routines are pretty sweet. Things just kind of like work as expected, but it wasn't my favorite. Rust is the only good language other than Haskell, OCaml, and Steel. Yeah, I mean that's fine. If you want to say that, you can say that. Swift is great. I really like Swift. When I get $1 billion, I will write a lot of Swift for fun. I don't think my real take on Rust is that I don't think the language is the reason it's good. I think the language is great. I mean, like, it's a great language. Obviously, I pretty much exclusively program in that and Steel, okay? I like Rust a lot, but I think the reason it's good is like everything else. The tooling, package manager, you got Cargo is like best in class. You've got great language server. All of this required a lot of work, but if you sat down to write Rust like 6-7 years ago, it was not nearly as enjoyable as it is today. Not nearly as enjoyable. I mean, like, if you used Rust, the Rust language server, pre-Rust analyzer, it was bad. I mean, like, you had more than like 10,000 lines of code in a project, and that thing just simply ceased to function. And for a language like Rust, having that quickly was good. But there's still languages today that you can't just like sit down and start. It requires like you have to do like a freaking sacrifice to the gods in order to get the project to start in the first place. Like, I don't even know how you start. Like getting SBT set up for Scala took me like way too long. Once it was going, it's really pleasant, but it was just like, oh my God. But yeah, Swift, Go, I mean, it's all cool. Everything's cool. They're all like really impressive. Like my hot take is I think C# is a better, it's not a hot take. A lot of people agree with me. I think C# is better than Java. But the ecosystem of Microsoft made C# adoption much slower with respect to like the rest of everybody that wasn't already bought in to that like Microsoft world. And they only recently within the last like maybe like 5 years have gotten to the point where C# like works natively on Linux and various things. But like every time I've had to write C# either for fun, I did some Unity years ago, or like professionally, I'm like, this is fine. This is completely fine. Not my preferred, but it works. It works fine. I would love to get into like app dev. It's fun. You know, just making shit move on the screen is fun. Unity sucks. All right, man. The Unity I know is Unity from like 2019, 2018. It was pretty sweet back then. Unity and peace on the Vision Pro. Live, laugh, love, baby. What if we made a Vision Pro app where then when you put it on, it was just like in cursive, live, laugh, love, as if you were like walking into a home. And then it was just like a fireplace behind that, like a nice warm home. That's our Vision Pro app. I mean, I'm not going to start a game in Unity today. I'd start a game in my own game engine. But that's besides the point. Well, if used ones are still going for $2,000, it seems like the people still like it. Okay, so I have a static arity checker. This is the thing that actually does the checking. This calls check. What are you barking at, buddy? Hey. He's barking. Known. I'll just call them contracts. Hash map. Static contract. All I know is like maybe like the first 2 weeks after the Vision Pro came out. Maybe like the first month. I don't remember. I was in San Francisco for work and I was walking around and I saw a dude like walking around the streets with them on. He just like had it on. He was just like cruising around. I thought it was funny. Okay, we have some known. He was not skateboarding, unfortunately. Y'all ever play the game Rocket Power? Or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4? Or 2? Or 3? Great games, man. Skateboarding games are so fun. I love skate games, man. I don't think I've ever played Skate. But I was a big Tony Hawk's Pro Skater number fan. The sound when you hit the combos. Let me see. It's like Tony Hawk's combo sound. What is this? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's the damn. Need more of that. There we go. Oh. It's so good. That's so good. Bam. Okay. I just merged that fix that I made earlier. So now this is all just gravy. Okay, so then when I'm actually running the visitor here, I'm a very audio focused person. I would say that I have ears. I would say that you're correct that I do have ears. I think ears are awesome, and I also think that sound is cool. I don't know what else to tell you about it. I'm a big fan of music. Big fan of sound. I'm telling you, man. Mario Tennis. Absolute banger game. God forbid a white boy jam out. That's correct. God forbid. I don't know what that is. Or all the existence of sound waves. I don't know what that is. quantum field theory. That's your forte, isn't it? Talking about music, that's your forte. Talking about dynamics. Y'all ever in band? Y'all ever get that meso forte and you're like, hell yeah, I get to play this medium loud? Hell yeah. No? Never? The other one is fortissimo, the double F. You're like, hell yeah. Never a band kid. That's devastating. There's literally dozens of videos of me drumming on YouTube. We won't be watching them here. Although I'm as sick as fuck. But that's besides the point. Not going to dox my hometown like that. I was not in marching band, though. I was not in marching band. I was in the jazz band. And the normal band. But the jazz band. Big band jazz. Just like Cowboy Bebop. Okay, so here is where I'm going to do my checks. Okay, so I think I'm just going to check. I'm just going to do type checking if they're constants, I think, for now. And I'm getting tired, so this is going to be... This will be a quick one. I got some Winter Olympics to watch. See, why does this not have any contracts known? Because it says known contracts. Yet... Oh, what the heck? Okay, so that part works. Okay, so we found those contracts. I mean, that's fine. But then here, now it says known contracts is 0. Oh, okay. I know why. Known functions? I have to do it over here too. I see. Okay. But we can do intra-module checks. I'll have to go add the inter-module checks later. That's fine. I don't quite have the mental capacity to do it tonight. But let's do okay, because now if I found contract, perfect. So now let me check the static contract. Do I actually like do any checks with this thing? Did I implement? I feel like I implemented dependent contracts too. Man, this is crazy. When did I do all this? When did I do all this? Okay, to type info. Type info. Okay, now I have type info. Is this or is this not the XFL? It's just a... It's just good stuff. I really want to play some football this weekend, but I think the weather is going to be like really mid, which is very disappointing. Okay, well, let's just do this really poorly, and then if it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, okay, so we have a type info. So this is a fixed arity function. Okay, cool. If args if l.args.len is equal to type infos.len, cool, we'll do something. And it's like 4. Okay, so then no, l.args.len minus 1. Or I could do like okay, and then we'll do this. Expr. Match type expr. There's too many things. We'll just do nothing there, and we'll just do type info. We'll just check the int case, okay, because that's the only one we have parsed. And then x per kind atom. They have to be atoms. And then it's atom. And then syntax object. Token type number n, and the rest doesn't matter. If that's correct, then we're good. But if it's all of that and if it's an identifier, then we're going to say that's also chill. But if it's literally anything else, and it's an atom that isn't a number, and it can't just be a number, it has to be an integer. We're just going to say, like, if n.resolve, if matches number literal real. What are real literals? Int rational. Oh, that sucks. Okay. Okay, so then if that is good, we're chilling. If it's not that, if this is like an identifier though, we're chill. Because if it's an identifier, we need to actually do like type check. We need to like run type checking across this, which again, I would like to do, but we're not going to do that right now. And we're just gonna let it slide. So if it's an identifier, we'll let it slide. Otherwise, though, we are going to push a diagnostic. So we're going to make a diagnostic here. And then we're gonna push a diagnostic. Something is very deeply wrong with the formatting. That's really weird. Span, and then we're going to say type mismatch, blank expects blank found blank. All right, that was really hard, but let's just see if that runs. Let's just see if that runs, and then if it works, very fun. Would you look at that? The contracts work. They work as type checker too. All right, take it easy, brother. I think I may also call it. That was a mission success, and I'm tired. But we got a 3-day weekend, so huge for the program. Gonna hit the gym in the morning. Maybe run to the gym in the morning. Maybe toss the rock in the afternoon. Just who's to say? Making pizza tomorrow night. Heart-shaped pizzas for Valentine's Day. Gonna be fun. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you. Good stream. Yes, I thought it was good. We succeeded. I fixed a bug right off rip. That feels good. And then I'll polish this up and I'll get this out as well because this is cool if I can make it happen. All right. Take it easy, everyone. Catch y'all later.